Hiya, pals, and welcome back to another episode of Mad Batter Baking. Today, we are making some taffy. And now, you might be wondering, Mariah, if you're making taffy, which is candy, why are you buttering a cake pan? Well, worry no more. You'll figure it out later, eventually. We'll get there. I promise. But now, we're just gonna butter that cake pan. And then we'll make that taffy. Now, to start off, we're gonna put in a saucepan 2 cups of sugar. Don't turn the heat on yet though. Just add the sugar. And then you're gonna add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. That's right, 2 tablespoons. I don't know why it's a big deal. Anyways, then you can stir it around. See, I'd made my handy-dandy banana smasher into a handy-dandy stirrer now because we kind of ran out of all of our other spoons. Then, after that, you're going to add 1 cup of corn syrup. I like to use the light corn syrup. I think there's a dark one too, but, I don't actually pay attention. I just use the light corn syrup. And then you can stir it around a little bit too. It'll get kind of like thick, because corn syrup is thick and it's just sugar. Everything's just sugar. So stir it up a little bit more, just because. And then you're gonna add 3/4 cups of water. And then you can stir that around a little bit more too, just because, might as well. Makes it look cool. Adds a little bit of fun into your day. And then after that, you can add a little pinch of salt, just for the taste. I don't actually know what salt does in any of these recipes, but it does something, so gotta add it. And then, so add the salt, stir that around a little bit. Then you can add 2 tablespoons of butter. And yes, sorry, I mixed up the videos a little bit. Then you're gonna turn the heat on to medium. And then you're going to stir that until the sugar dissolves. Now see, I'm going to give you a little bit of explanation as to why I kind of messed that up, because I forgot to add the salt at first. But don't forget to add the salt. Add it before you put the heat on. Don't do what I did. Anyways, now you're just going to stir it until the sugar dissolves. And now that we're here, I want to add a little bit of a disclaimer that if you are making candy, please be careful. Hot sugar, boiling sugar is painful. You need to be really careful. I've been making candy for a while, I guess. And I've burned myself several times making this. So please be careful. Don't splash it too far. Don't get it on your wrist. I've gotten scars on my wrist from having the sugar splash onto it, and luckily it didn't get too bad, but sugar burns can get really bad. It'll just burn through your skin until it cools down. So, disclaimer, be careful. Now, after the sugar dissolves, put a lid on it and let it boil for like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And don't forget, friends, always have your drink. Anyways, now you're gonna let it boil for 2 minutes 30 seconds with the lid on. Just because. Bring it up to heat. Get it faster. Get it there faster. And then after, you're gonna take the lid off, and then you're just gonna let it go up to temperature, which is, hold up, let me check. I forgot what the temperature is. Okay, so here's the notes I have. Uncover and let it cook to between 240 and 260 degrees Fahrenheit. 240 has more of a Laffy Taffy type consistency. I discovered this time that 250 is also more of a Laffy Taffy type consistency. But one of the other times I made it, I accidentally boiled it until it got to 260, and that kind of got it too hard to work. So, anyways, if you want to, you can experiment between 240, 260. Just let it go. See what works for you. See what kind of consistency you like. I think 250 is a pretty good consistency. My family seemed to like it. And didn't seem too bad. But yeah, and it's important while you are letting it boil like this to not stir it, because I'm pretty sure I read at one point that when it's boiling, the sugar is crystallizing or something like that. And, you want to let it crystallize properly, so don't stir it. I don't know. Maybe you do stir it. Anyways, once it gets to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, or whatever you want to boil it to, remove it from the heat. Very simple procedure. And then you are going to take your flavoring. I use Loran oils, little bottles. It comes in like a dram. I used apple for this, but you can use whatever kind of flavoring you want, honestly. Anything you think will be good. And then I also have this tart and sour flavor enhancer that hopefully will make it taste more sour. I think you're supposed to add like a tablespoon for every dram that you use, but I didn't really measure it, so do whatever you want. Then that's when you can add your coloring. I like to use those gel food colorings for my candy making, so you can add whatever color you want. I think green goes really well with apple, so that's what I added there. If you can do like raspberry flavoring, I don't know, and pink, I don't know, whatever you want. Now you figure out why we use the cake pan. You're gonna let it cool, because you really want it to get cool before you start working it and pulling it. So let it cool in there for a little bit, because one time I started pulling it, which you'll see here, I started pulling it too fast, and I burned my hands. And don't forget, guys, when you are pulling your taffy, butter your hands up, butter the counter up, butter everything up. This is really sticky. It'll stick to everything. And luckily, like with hot water, it'll dissolve, so it's not too bad if it gets stuck on somewhere. But it'll get stuck to your hands, and if you don't want it to get stuck to your hands, butter your hands up multiple times. I don't care. I don't care if you don't think that butter's, if you don't like the feeling of butter, because I don't like the feeling of butter either. But you've got to get it. It's going to stick. See, it's stuck to the counter. And then when you pull it, it's just going to get stuck everywhere. And I don't care how long you pull it for, it's going to stay sticky at some point. At some point. Like that makes any sense. And then you're going to pull it, because you want to incorporate the air in it until it gets to like that, really pretty light color. Light and airy. Whatever you, I don't know what you consider it. But then after it's pulled, you will pull it out into like long strings, and then you can cut it. I use scissors, but like I said, butter up your scissors. And then here comes the fun part, rolling the candies. See, this is definitely my least favorite part of making candy at all, is the packaging, because there's so much of it. There's so many candies, and it takes so long, and it takes a lot of patience. Making candy is an entire endeavor. Make sure you're prepared for it before you actually start doing it. And I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but when you're making the candy, make sure all of your stuff is prepared beforehand. Don't just go into making your candy and, it gets hot. You're gonna forget something. Make sure you don't forget by having it all prepared earlier. Now, here you go. A nice little thing of candy. Saltwater taffy. Or just taffy in general. Anyways, Mariah out. Bye!